Hey everyone, so this is an introductory video to the tutorial series here for Pandora tomorrow speedrunning. And in this video I will give you a couple of suggestions for the most optimal control settings for speedrunning. And I will mainly touch on 3 distinct parts. So this is going to be a pretty brief video, but hopefully this can help you out. Again, none of this is mandatory. You can just as well finish your run without these. But I think these will help you much more long-term to achieve better times and just be more efficient. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is the interaction mapping. Now, by default, it's set to space, and I believe the second one is either empty or it's enter. Maybe, I don't know. But the most efficient way of interacting with things in Splinter Cell is by using your mouse scroll wheel. And here, as you can see, I have an alternative bind set to interaction as mouse wheel down. Now, it doesn't matter if it's up or down, but basically the reason why it's so efficient is because every little single scroll, like every step of the scroll, is registered as a single keystroke. And so what happens basically if you scroll your mouse very quickly, right? It captures a bunch of inputs at rapidly, and that allows you to basically do things like open the doors at the earliest possible moment, basically frame perfect timing. It pick up objects at the earliest possible moment, scrub through the dialogue, the conversations that you have with, for example, Ingrid at the fastest rate possible, and stuff like that. So it's really beneficial to have that. Now, I do understand that it is very unorthodox to, interact with things with your mouse wheel, but trust me, when you get used to this, you will see quite a bit of an improvement in terms of your efficiency during the run, so I really recommend you do this. So to set up this bind, all you have to do is just right-click either on the main bind column here or the second one here, and as soon as you double-click that, you're going to see this window pop up, which asks you to perform an input, and you just scroll your mouse downward or upward like that. And this should appear, and as soon as that appears, one of the binds will be your mouse wheel. Don't forget to save, and from now on, you'll be able to interact with your mouse wheel. So the second thing I want to talk about is quick saving and quick loading. As you can see here, the default binds for quick saving and quick loading are F5 and F8, and in casual play, this might seem okay. But when we're speedrunning, we want to be able to quick save and revert to a quick save as efficiently as possible without really experiencing any strain or just being, hard to reach in terms of, extending your fingers to a certain location on your keyboard. And, usually we want to be able to reach something with the same hand as we're moving. So for example, for me, switching to F5 and F8 while holding W is very, very awkward. But you can, of course, change these binds, but there's a very, very important thing I want to warn you about, and that is that you can't do that from within the game. So how do you go about that? So the way you change these binds is by editing the control file from within the game's directory. So to find that, you want to open your game folder. Here I have Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow, and you're going to go to Offline, System, and then here you want to scroll down until you will see Splinter Cell 2 user, and it's going to be an .ini file. You want to open that in any text editing software, doesn't matter. Now here you will see a bunch of aliases. Just ignore that. You don't need to care about aliases, just whatever. And you want to scroll down until you see F5 and F8. Now, this is what you're going to see by default. As you can see, F5 has a bind or a function called save game, and F8 has load game. Now, these are sort of code names for quick save and quick load in this settings file. So what you want to do is you want to just take this and cut it out of F5 and just set it to whatever feels the most comfortable to you. Personally, and this is my own personal recommendation, I like to have quick save as 4 and quick load here as 6. This seems pretty comfortable to me. I'm very much used to this. Just make sure that S is capitalized here and L is capitalized here, and no spaces, no special symbols. And once you change the binds, you can just press Control S to save the settings file. And once you restart the game, all you need to do is just press 4 to see if it works. And it does. So congratulations, you have successfully changed your quick save and quick load binds. And the last thing I want to talk about is the inventory. Now, if you have played Splinter Cell 1, then you know that by pressing and holding Control, or in this case, I think it's just pressing it, will open up your inventory. But you can scroll through your inventory in other ways as well. For example, here you have in Pandora Tomorrow, you have 2 binds. You have the next weapon bind and the previous weapon bind. Now, I can't really remember what's the default bind for previous weapon. However, the default for next weapon is tab. So if you press tab once, it'll equip the next slot in your inventory. So maybe it's a disposable pick, maybe it's a laser microphone, maybe it's something else. And if you have your weapon drawn, then it'll just scroll through your available attachments. So sticky shockers, ring airfoil, smoke grenades, etc. Now, what I have done with these binds is I have set them to my side mouse buttons. And you may be thinking, well, no, you haven't, because here it says J and K, right? So you're probably just kidding, right? The thing is that the game does not allow you to bind something to your side mouse buttons, so like mouse 4 and onwards, I think. But as you can see, I'm pressing the side mouse button and like nothing's happening. And I'll show you how to go around that. So the way to do this is to actually assign a keyboard macro to your side mouse button. Here is how I do it. I have a SteelSeries mouse. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Just happen to have it. It's a cheap mouse anyway. Here, as you can see, I have my button 4, which is this back button on the side. And as you can see, it basically sends out a keyboard press command as if I had pressed the J button. And if you remember back to my controls tab, J is also my bind for previous weapons. So whenever I press this side button, the game will choose me my previous weapon in the previous inventory slot. And I can do the same for going forwards or the next weapon bind. As you can remember, I have it as tab and also K. So I'm going to set it to K. Here's how I do it. It's probably going to be something similar in your software, but here's how I do it. So I just go here. I select that it's the button 5 and keyboard buttons. And here I have K, right? So I assign this forward mouse, side mouse button to the letter K on the keyboard, so that whenever I press that side mouse button, it'll basically act as if I had pressed the letter K on my keyboard. And all I need to do is just hit save. And now that I'm back in the game, you want to pay attention to my keyboard layout on the bottom left. Now I'm going to press the back side mouse button. And as you can see, the system thought that I pressed J, and accordingly, the game reacted. And I did the same for forwards now. It's going to flash as K. There you go. And as you can see, these binds work by going around this problem. And yeah, that's how you do it. Lastly, I want to stress once again that everything I've said here is optional. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do this. And you can very well finish a speedrun in a competitive time without any of these. But I think that these suggestions will help you make your gameplay more efficient, will cut you on some of the hard work that you'll be doing with your fingers, because usually you have to do inputs without looking at your keyboard, and the more unorthodox, finger movement you have to do on the keyboard, the harder it's going to be. Or for example, if you just for some reason don't open doors or the inputs don't register or something like that, that's where you can avoid these moments and make your whole speedrunning thing more efficient. If you have any further questions, please let me know in the comments, or you can join our Splinter Cell speedrunning Discord, where we're more than happy to answer any and all of your questions. Until then, thank you for watching, and let's get to the game.